10.2, and I included 10.4 here, analyzing diets. So Canada's food guide has been updated recently. On the left is something we may have seen prior to, I think the food guide was updated in 2019, if not 2020. So we used to strive for approximately 5 to 12 servings of grain a day, 5 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables, milk products, and meat or alternatives. And so it told us approximately how many servings to eat and what a serving looked like. Now, this would vary, of course, by age and gender, your activity level. So the serving size and number of servings wasn't always appropriate. Again, what my toddler might eat might be different than how much I might eat in comparison to a serving versus how many servings we may need. So it changes again depending on a multitude of factors. So what they did is generalized a little bit more. And again, research has continued to update our food guides. So making sure that we're taking that into account. Again, we've talked briefly about this. Approximately half of what you eat per day should be fruits and vegetables, a quarter being high protein foods, and the last quarter should be whole grain foods. So how do the new and old food guide differ, and what are their similarities? Well, we can still find grains, fruit and vegetables, and meat and alternatives in our proteins here. But we've eliminated our milk products. They're included in the proteins, but it's not explicitly telling us that we need to eat dairy. Additionally, we aren't told exactly how many servings of each, just told to balance our plate when we're filling it. And it included water as one of the things to note or look at within what we were eating. A balanced diet. So diet refers to the amount and type of food you eat each day. It's important because we need each of the organic nutrients that we've talked about here. Elements could also be missing from a diet. Malnutrition, leading to an inability to digest foods that you do eat because we're missing some of those important minerals and nutrients. But it also affects many of the different roles in the body. The amount of foods you need depend on age, the body size, activity level, your gender, and maybe whether you're pregnant or breastfeeding. Women need additional nutrition during that point as well. Developing healthy eating habits is really important, and some ways that we can do that is to just simply be mindful of your eating habits. So how you're eating something, what you're eating, where are you eating, at the table or in front of the TV, on the run, in the car? Are you paying attention to what you're eating? When you are eating throughout the day? And why you are eating. Is it because you're hungry, because you're bored, because you walked past and it looked really good? So it's just mindful eating habits. Cooking more often. So that'll help to avoid processed foods. And you're using whole ingredients typically, rather than, again, more processed ones. Enjoy your food and eat with others. So enjoying our food kind of means, eating a little bit more slowly, recognizing when we're full, and eating with others, just making food social. Really important to read food labels. And we're going to try and limit foods that are high in sodium, sugar, and saturated fat. Those are unhealthy choices and wouldn't be part of our Canada food guide. and simply to be aware of food marketing. So something we may not realize is that trends bring our attention towards specific foods, brands, or promotions happening specifically to buy their product rather than because their product is healthy and a smart and healthy eating habit. Food labels. Food labels contain information about the ingredients. So the first ingredient listed would be the one that is included in that product with the greatest mass. So they're listed from the largest mass included in that to the smallest mass, so the smallest amount or composition. So something that's near the top of the ingredients list is there in a really large quantity. Food labels also contain information about nutrients, and they're grouped for convenience. So we can kind of see on this cereal box here, we have fats, energy is listed at the top. We have some of our elements typically listed below, and vitamins, carbohydrates, and what type of carbohydrate, whether it's a fiber, a sugar, etc., and protein. So they've really tried to break it down into the nutrient categories for us. The energy per serving would be our calories, and the daily value, how much of the recommended daily intake is in one serving. So that would be our percentages, and not listed here, but super important, serving size. So although we might be getting, I don't know, let's say in this case, 9 or 8% of our daily intake of salt by eating a bowl of Cheerios. If we have a giant bowl of Cheerios, maybe we are getting closer to 2 servings, so twice as much. So it's really important to recognize what is a serving, maybe less so on our Cheerio box, as these are a pretty good whole grain choice for breakfast, but some labels can be deceiving. So for example, I took the nutrition information of Pop-Tarts. Delicious. All about it. And so I looked here and I was like, oh, 200 calories, NBD, no big deal. Have that for breakfast. 8% of my total fats for the day. So I still have to get 92% of the healthy fats that I'm looking for. And a lot of those are coming in saturated fats, which we were supposed to be avoiding. The sodium intake, not too bad. Carbohydrates, not too bad, but I'm getting a lot of sugars. So rather than getting my carbohydrates in fiber, I'm getting them in sugar, and probably unrefined sugar or refined sugars rather than something like sugars in a piece of fruit. And I'm not getting very much protein. And if you look here, it is not really a source of a lot of vitamins that I need. Looking at the ingredients list, enriched flour is the first thing we see, and those go all the way to here. And then, just the ingredients of what enriched flour is what's in those brackets. The next ingredient, so second most ingredient, is corn syrup, and then high fructose corn syrup, dextrose, which is another kind of sugar, soybean and palm oil, and then just sugar. So sugar was about 4 or 5 of the top 6 ingredients there, which might not mean that it's a great breakfast food. The other thing is, we all know Pop-Tarts come in 2 packs. So when you open the foil pack, there's 2 Pop-Tarts. Are you likely to eat just one? Or are you likely to eat both? And in which case, you're getting twice as much here. So recognizing that maybe this isn't the best breakfast option, it's a highly processed food with lots of sugar and doesn't pull from a lot of the other foods that I'd like to be looking at from the Canada Health Food Guide. I'm not getting half of my servings being fruits and vegetables here. It's probably just jam, which is sugar. But am I still going to have a Pop-Tart occasionally? Yes. Am I going to have it for breakfast every morning? Maybe I would think twice about it. Taking a quick look at some alternate diets. Vegetarian diets, of course, are quite common and can still be very healthy. A vegetarian means that they don't eat meat. Sometimes you can be a pescatarian, where maybe you only eat fish, but you don't eat like cows or other mammals. So a vegetarian doesn't eat meat, therefore they need to take care to eat certain foods or eat more foods with protein from other sources, because they're missing out on protein from meat. A vegetarian diet can be quite high in fiber and low in harmful fats, so low in saturated fats. However, it can be low in iron, calcium, and vitamin D, because we are not eating meat. Fad diets are ones that come around and catch hold in a population for one reason or another. Typically, their goal is weight loss rather than a healthy lifestyle choice. However, two that are really popular right now, and I thought I would include, would be paleo and keto diets. A paleo diet, the goal is to be eating what we would have as early humans, so hunter and gatherers, kind of caveman, if you will. So paleo diets include meat, fish, berries, fruit, vegetables, nuts, seeds, anything that grows naturally. It doesn't include processed foods, which is a good thing. Paleo diets do not include any dairy, whole grains, legumes, which are like beans, or sugar. So the paleo diet can be a low fiber diet, low in protein, calcium, and minerals. So there are some drawbacks to a paleo diet. A keto diet is a low carbohydrate, high fat diet designed to induce what's called ketosis, which is kind of our body being low on energy because we don't have those carbohydrates. And it forces the body to start burning fat to lose weight. In a keto diet, you would eat non-starch vegetables. So those are like no potatoes, no sweet potatoes, basically no root vegetables. So no starch vegetables, but you could eat green leafy things. Berries, meat, fish, eggs, oils, nuts, and seeds. Again, things that are high in fat. This, again, doesn't include processed food, which is great. You cannot eat, again, those root vegetables, fruit, because of the sugars and which would be carbohydrates, whole grains, legumes, and again, sugar. A keto diet can have lead to a very low energy or low blood sugars, so it can be really dangerous for some people. It can lead to low fiber and minerals as well. So evaluate your choices. Our bodies require a balanced source of fuel and nutrients at regular intervals. So things like skipping meals or loading up on one nutrient, not the other, can be not as great. So skipping meals can lead to low blood sugar, and our bodies will look to conserve energy. So our body functions will slow. We may start to feel sleepy, irritable, unable to concentrate. So skipping meals isn't recommended. Oftentimes you hear that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Well, we haven't eaten for 8 hours, so we would have a low blood sugar to begin with, maybe. And it's really important that we start to fuel up and taking good nutrients for the day, so that we don't feel sleepy and we are able to concentrate. A high fat diet, so oftentimes maybe lots of processed foods. Our body has to work harder to digest high fat, a large fat content in our diet. It'll cause fatigue because our body is so stressed working to digest. So we'll get a lack of energy and we could end up with some really high cholesterol. which can lead to some other big health problems. Some practice from both 10.2 and 10.4 here, page 206, number 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and page 211, number 1 and 2.